A father should be a good leader.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
Of every home. All right. Whichever organization you have. We're not just going to talk about leadership. We're talking about true leaders. So when we mention leadership, somebody say, do I really need this? That your shop, that your organization you're running, you should be a good leader. All right. Everybody is leading something. Even if it's your goat or your dog, you carry every money. You're leading something, consciously or unconsciously. If we begin to have leaders without having what I call, leadership, deficiency in leadership capital, that's the problem with every society we have ourselves.
Deficiency in leadership capital.
Yes, that's the problem. So if we begin to understand what true leadership is all about, the first way to understand leadership is understanding what leadership is not. Okay. I will repeat. The good way or the first way to understand leadership is by find out what leadership. Warren Buffett once said, look for 3 things in a leader.
Okay.
Number 1 is intelligence. Leaders are very brilliant. They study. They're innovative. They think. They lead by example. They study deep. If you see any leader, so-called, that is not reading, he's not ready to be leadership. Yeah, they have what we call capacity, competence, and capability. They study. I don't want to mention them, but good leaders and great leaders will tell you how many books. They ravage book like food. They eat food. Books like food. They read. We are in society where people don't read. I told you the other time where they were burning malls all over Lagos during NSAS. I discovered that there was a part of a supermarket people didn't visit.
They left the books.
They drank everything in all the supermarkets, ate all the snacks and drank. But one particular point, nobody entered there. There was a book department of all the stores. Because thieves don't read. No. And readers don't steal. No. So, say look for 3 things in a leader. Number 1 is intelligent. We should have a society of brilliant, sagacious, upwardly mobile men and women. Secondly, he talks about energy, positive energy. People a good leader brings energy. When he comes in, you will see that there is energy. What I mean, positive energy, not stealing, not fraudulent. That's what this man said. Then thirdly, he said integrity. All right? A leader should have molecules of integrity, not necessarily intelligence without integrity. And Warren Buffett says something. He said intelligence, energy, and integrity. He said if you can't find the third one, you might as well forget the first 2.
The first 2.
If you can't
find intelligence, there's no energy.
If you find intelligence and energy and you can't find integrity, you say you should forget the first 2. So how do you classify somebody that tells you he's a true leader who doesn't have integrity? So we have men and women today who can't stand their words. Who tells you one in the morning, in the evening, they're saying another thing. So that's why I said for you to understand who is a true leader, you first of all understand who is not. So are you a true leader? That's the question you should ask yourself this morning. In that your shop you just opened this morning. In that your organization you claim that you are leading. In that your school you are the pioneer, proprietress or proprietor, whatever you have yourself. Are you really a true leader? Some people mistake leadership to professional manipulator. I repeat, they misplace leadership to professional manipulator.
Which is a professional manipulator?
You are just a professional manipulator who has very sound way of manipulating people to have your selfish gain. In their mind, they laugh. I don't want to bring it down to politics alone. General facets of life. Yeah. They manipulate you. They laugh in their mind that, look, I've taken advantage of this guy, these idiots or whatever name they use. Doesn't know that that's, but in their mind, they are leaders. You are not a leader, you're just a manipulator. Are you an intimidator or are you a leader? True leadership is not about control. It's not about control. You know what I mean by control? Whether you manipulate people to control them. It's so bad if you understand this in that some people are so anxious of controlling people that sometimes they even use voodoo. To do that in organizations in some places. And somebody will tell you, I worked in this organization. I didn't recognize myself. For 3 years I was here and I left emptier than I found the place. That's not a good leader. A true leader is not about manipulation, I told you. It's not about intimidating people. You come in, whether you want this, rather I use a gun or I use something to intimidate you, to tell you if you don't do this, you're going to die. If you don't do this, I'll do this to you. You know, I'm bigger than you. You know, those kind of, that's not true leadership. True leadership is not all about control, but about service. All right? True leadership is not about power. That will shock you.
True leadership is
not
about power,
but it's about empowering the people. How do you know that somebody is not a leader? When people say, oh, that guy is powerful, that's a very good example that you're not a leader. But rather, somebody will say, that guy empowered me.
That's a leader.
Do you hear people when you're walking on the road, they say, you see this man? This man made me whom I am today. That's a leader. The true definition of a good leader does not come from his mouth. It comes from the people
he has empowered.
He touched their lives. People he empowered. Testimonies of true leaders comes from their followers. The person you tell this guy made me great. You see this guy I saying today, he made me, they leave traces. That's why I say for us to understand true leaders, we must be, you see some people that tells you good. You see this man, you know, you could be anything. You know, sometimes I talked about succession. I told you that if you have not succeeded, it's when you have not raised a successor. The person that you are seeing today empowered me. That's a definition of a true leader. We're going to look at the scriptures.
Okay.
It's important we do. All right. Let's look at Moses as a good leader in Deuteronomy chapter 34, please.
Okay.
Good news will help us. Deuteronomy, yes, chapter 34 from verse 9. Let's look at what a true leader should look like. Deuteronomy chapter 34 from verse 9. Yes. Deuteronomy chapter 34.
Verse 9.
From verse 9, yes.
All right.
Good news.
Good news.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me check for good news.
Deuteronomy 34 from verse 9.
All right. I'm reading 34:9.
Yes.
And now Joshua, son of Nun. 34:9. Joshua, son of Nun, was filled with wisdom because Moses had appointed him to be successor.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
I told you that true leadership is all about succession, imparting on other people. Joshua, the son of Nun, was what?
Filled with wisdom.
Was filled with wisdom. Remember we talked about application. We said wisdom. So he's ready to apply. And for him to talk about wisdom, that means he has gone through information. So you must have given him enough information. All right? You must have given him enough comprehension, which is understanding. Now he's talking about wisdom. All right?
Yeah.
Now talking about wisdom and application. So he said Joshua, the son of Nun, was
filled with wisdom.
Was filled with wisdom because
Moses had appointed him.
Has appointed him
to be successor.
To be successor. That's a true leader. All right? When we go further, you discover the difference between leaders and politicians. Politicians are thinking about the next election.
Yes.
A good leader is thinking about the next generation. All right. So this one he said because they appointed him a successor. Read further.
Okay.
Yes.
The people of Israel obeyed Joshua.
The people of Israel obeyed him because a man walked on him.
Yeah. And kept the commands that the Lord had given them through
and
Moses.
gave the commands that the Lord has given them. Yes.
There has never been a prophet in Israel like Moses.
You see that? These are the qualifications of a true leader. But this is not the part that makes him a true leader. Being a prophet, being this, being that, whatever name he had, or accolades that comes with him. What defined him as a leader was his succession. That was what started with that. Joshua, all right? If we are not here now, what are your products?
Exactly.
You know, you said Nadi and Sons. If you look for Nadi, don't see where are the sons? That is where the leadership starts. All right. Now, but go further. Let's now see this Joshua, because we don't have time to start talking about how Moses died. So Moses died. We know how God said, "As I was with Moses, so shall I be with you." Every student of the Bible knows that. That was what God did, and He handed over. So let's look at Judges chapter 2 from verse 8. The same good news. Let's look at a man handed over to you, had a very proper succession, moved over, the baton of leadership to you, which is what I call true leadership, all right?
Judges what?
Judges chapter 2 from verse 8. Now is the time of Joshua. Yes.
Judges 8:2.
Yes.
Judges 2:8 rather, sorry.
Yes, Judges chapter 2 verse 8, yes.
The Lord's servant, Joshua, son of Nun, died at the age of 110.
The Lord's servant who?
Joshua
died.
Son of Nun.
Remember we had testimony of Moses.
Yes.
And we saw that even Joshua did exploit because of that succession. This young man poured everything to him, Moses. And Joshua became great. Now he died. What happened? Let's look at him.
He died at the age of 110.
He died at the age of 110.
And he was buried in his own part of the land.
Okay.
At Timnath Serah.
Okay.
In the hill country of Ephraim, north of Mount Gash.
Okay.
That whole generation also died.
You see, you died and a generation that was following. You killed a generation. That's a bad leader. Read further.
And the next generation forgot the Lord.
Did you hear that?
And what He had done for Israel.
He didn't just kill a generation. He made them forget the Lord, who was supposed to be the fulcrum or definition of his future and whatever he's doing. Imagine a man that made a generation not just to die, but to forget the Lord. He was a failed leader. That's why I started
Because
by
his
telling
succession was not
the
evident.
succession was not evident. It was not there. You have a big shop, you have a big whatever, you are in this market or whatever. The young man that works with you, can we hear his product? That's the point we're making.
Yeah.
Can we confidently say, this is what this is coming? Look at it. As soon as he died, a generation died. The remaining generation
Forgot
the Lord.
And what he had done.
And what he has done for them. So when I hear people say, this is a powerful man of God, this is a powerful preacher, that's the number one example you are not a very good leader. Rather, we should hear of people you empowered. Generation you touch. Leadership is not all about manipulation. It's about inspiration. Inspiring people to the highest level of leadership. Alright? True leaders don't manipulate people. They inspire them. Their life is inspirational. They inspire you. True leadership is not about people, but discovering purpose and helping people discover their own purpose. Alright? It is not all about, the followers.
Okay.
You have to understand this. True leaders do not seek followers. Today, everybody is telling you, I'm an influencer. What are you influencing? You're just a businessman looking for money. You're not influencing nothing. By the time we go into true definition of leadership, this is a very deep topic.
Yeah, it is.
We're going to look at dominant qualities of a leader, which includes vision and the rest of them. They are there. True leadership is not all about becoming or necessarily doing, because there are people that tells you, I just want to be a leader, by doing this and doing that. A leader is one who shows the way. And the question, do you know the way?
Yeah.
Because before you show the way, you'll be able to know the way they are showing people.
You must know it.
And be clear about it. That's why he talked about, when we enter vision, one of the dominant qualities of vision should be clear, that even he that is running should know it. When you come into a place, the first thing you ask people, that's how you know a leader. If you want to know whether this guy is a politician or a leader, ask him or her, what purpose do you have for me? What is it? In the next 10 years, where am I even going with this? So a true leader is one who knows the way and is able to show the people, guide them, and direct them to that place. So leadership is the process of guiding, directing, commanding others to achieve a desired goal or vision. Guiding, directing, possibly commanding others. Because some people need to be commanded before they do certain things. Yes. To achieve a desire. Don't forget that part. A desired goal. So leadership is the key to fulfilling vision and producing results. Everything rises and falls on leadership. Everything. That's why I don't want to put it on politics. Everything rises
and falls
on leadership.
Like we saw everything fall with Joshua.
Yes.
We saw it rise with
Not
Moses.
just fall, a generation perished. In a country, a whole nation can collapse because of bad leadership. A whole district, a whole market, a whole organization can collapse.
A whole company.
Yeah, a whole company. Most people are not bad, but they're making bad decisions.
They're bad leaders.
They're making bad decisions. A leader is one that knows where he's going. So you're careful with bad decisions. Because you take the responsibility too. Example of...
It's the same thing we can say about a home.
The same thing I'm telling you. You are the leader.
You're the leader.
Your children are watching you. And I'm talking about inspiration. The children are not watching by what you say. I've said that before.
By what
you inspire them. They are watching you pray before you know it, they start praying. If you're the type you smoke before your kids, you beat. I mean, I've had cases where people say, I don't want to marry. You ask them why. I say, if it's what my dad and my mom is doing, forget it. Marriage is a scam. You've led them wrong. You cannot separate leadership and influence.
Exactly.
Okay, because sometimes when we mention leadership, people only look at the good side. That's also bad leaders. You see a young man, today we're mentioning bandits and terrorists and the rest of them. How did these young men end up in the bush?
There.
So I think one of the newspapers reporting that in a particular state, the terrorists were celebrating or something, and they saw almost about 500 of them in a bush with their motorcycles. How did they get it? Somebody influenced them. That's leadership. When we mention leadership, people think it's always the positive side. That's somebody's influenced them. Actively influenced them, but negatively.
Yes.
He must have done something that attracted them. Leaders attract others. When we get into dominant qualities of a leader, that's a great leader, but a horrible one.
Yeah.
Ability to.
So you could be a great leader because of the applications of the modules.
Yes.
But what your action is ugly.
It's ugly.
Okay.
At the end of it all, you're going to influence them to kill and whatever. This is why that topic, I said, nobody should miss this. Is going to help us. When I talked about the body, the soul, and the spirit. When we talk about the soul, I said the mind. He manipulated their minds. Some of them got deranged. In fact, there was a particular case I was told, the leader told them, go back to your houses. And this is a must. That's the command we're talking about. Kill your parents. Kill your wife. They come back and join me, otherwise I will trace you to kill you. He was trying to walk. When somebody goes back to kill his parents, he's not a complete psychopath. If somebody could kill his parents, will he spare you?
Of course not.
If somebody can kill a wife, will he spare you as a woman? So that person would have been a terrible manipulator who manipulated them into doing those things. So that's why people say this guy is hardened. What hardens him is the mind. He's mentally deranged. Some of these teachings we are doing here, people don't know how deep. That's why I say one connects another. Go and do this thing. They come into the house after all kinds of horrible things. They ask a man, rape your daughter. Horrible demonic things they do. It's your mind that gets it because they know you won't come out of it. From that place, the person is man. There are people today that need healing. From several things that happen in their mind, they know you are, in fact, you are a psycho. Yeah. These things are, when you say psycho, the person's mind is totally deranged and messed up. You can't come out of them, they take you. At that point, they know you are their command. Kill, they go. Do this, they do that. That person needs a lot of healing and a lot of education. Okay. So examples of bad leadership is politics without principles. We can have so many politicians in leadership, but we don't have so many leaders in politics. I'll repeat, we may have so many politicians in leadership, but we don't have, or we have very few leaders in politics. They are very two different things. You heard what I said. All right?
Politics without principle.
Yes, politics without principle. Pleasure without conscience.
Pleasure without conscience.
And another example of bad leadership.
Pleasure without conscience.
I'm just trying to call it because of time. We have wealth without work. That is where you begin to talk about OBT, 419 and the rest of them. That's bad leadership. Everything you're doing today, you're leading. You see a young man that tells you, okay, show me how to make money now.
Yeah.
So what do? I don't want to go to school. I don't know how you made it. I learned you just traveled and made money. That is wealth without work.
How they use it? They cut me soap.
Okay, cut me soap and
cut
the rest
me
of
soap is like, show me the way.
That is also an example of bad leadership.
Yeah.
And he's ready to follow you.
Yes.
Remember that leadership commands followership. So, do I meet you in Lagos, Abuja? Where I just want to. Just cut me soap, like you said. That's bad leadership. That's bad influence. And he's following. And some of them, they will tell you, bring your sister, we'll kill him. He's ready to make the sacrifice. Because there is sacrifice in leadership. Yeah. For those who understand this.
There's sacrifice with leadership.
Knowledge without character. It's another example of, another example of bad leadership. Knowledge without character. It doesn't matter what you have. There are people that have talents. They don't have, I was talking to the Nollywood people on, so most of you have talents, but you don't have a proper education and character to keep it. Because if you do even some of the things you add now, people are losing interest. That is the truth. Knowledge without character is another example of bad leadership. Business without morality. Business, anything goes for you. You don't care, even if you have to hurt people, wound them, immorality, whatever, as long as money is coming in, is none of it. That's bad leadership. That's another example of bad leadership. All right. Science without humanity. I think Dr. Richard have talked about this. As much as we are doing science and everything, there is an aspect that connects with humanity. While you begin to do science without humanity. That is example of bad leadership. Then worship without sacrifice. Worship without sacrifice. All right? Without personal sacrifice, there must be something you give in for true worship to come. Whether the flesh or whatever it is, there must be something you say, enough of this, enough of that for you to be a true
worshiper.
Yes. So I've told you that politicians are concerned about the next election. Yeah. That's the difference between them and true leaders. But leaders are concerned about the next generation. Remember Joshua came up and killed a generation. And in his time, people forgot,
about the Lord.
So you hear cases where a man is doing so well, the son comes up, crumbles everything. Crumbles the dynasty, smoked everything away, used the rest to do cocaine and the rest of them. That's a bad leader. But there is succession and positive succession. All right? So leading requires conviction, not popular opinion. You must begin to break it down. You see, you need to have vision. The vision will lead to conviction. The conviction will give you provision. But so many people put it the other way around by looking for provision, even before having conviction, and they don't have vision at all. So what is vision? That's for another day. When we begin to look at the dominant qualities of a leader. But you need to have vision. Even if you say you're starting a church and God called you, or MTN or Glow called you, I don't know the one that called you. But if you are called, you must have a vision From the vision, you have conviction, that internal conviction. I'm very convinced this is what I'm called to do. I'm a media professional. You can't be whatever you hit. You say, that's what I'm looking for. Today, you're radio. The other day, at television. Before you know it, I asked a young man, what do you want to do in life? He said, I want to travel. Say, he didn't hear my question. What do you want to do? Like,
He wants to travel.
Say, I want to travel. I say professional. He said, I want to travel. Traveling is
He's a traveling professional traveler.
I don't understand. You like a tourist. He said, no, I just want to get out of the country. Is that an occupation?
He's a professional
That is
traveler.
when somebody don't understand and they need to be put through. That's some of these programs we see we're doing every Thursday.
Yes.
They start letting you know, because most of them think that as soon as you run out of Nigeria, you become a billionaire. It doesn't work that way. All right. So true leaders focus on these things I'm going to mention now. I'm breaking them down. Maybe from next week we'll start tearing them down. They focus on purpose. All right. When purpose is misunderstood, abuse becomes inevitable. There are most people that go to church. I tell people, even as a pastor, I've seen cases, I see people in church on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I call them together on a Friday. They thought I have something prophetic to tell them. I said, when do you practice what you teach you on Sunday? And they were like, we didn't expect this from you. I just want to ask, because almost some of you come here every day. So when you practice what you teach on Monday, Sunday, whatever, I thought some of these things we teach is for you to carry it home and start experimenting it in your shops, in your places of business or whatever. If you not sleep in church every day, how are you going to feed your family? But that is the truth. Those ones, okay, I call them program-driven churches. You can have a program-driven life and you think you're doing well. Your life should be purpose-driven. Your life should be purpose-driven. You should tell yourself in the next 10 years, this is where I'm going to be, okay? And talking about purpose, you talk about distance. Distance is, you talk about speed per time. That's what scientifically brings distance. What can you cover with this time, all right? Time, they said time flies like a jet. It's up to you to be the pilot. A good pilot does not look at the weather. He looks at the radar. So can you sit back and say you have a purpose? What is the purpose of your existence? Why are you here? The purpose of this microphone is to magnify my voice. Okay? The purpose of this seat is to keep me here. There's a purpose for everything. And that's why I say when purpose is misunderstood, if you begin to see your wife as a chattel, that's when you beat her. She becomes an instrument of boxing because nobody even taught you about marriage. What is the purpose of your coming here? Apart from eating, going to the restroom, coming out, breathing oxygen and bringing out carbon dioxide, is there another thing you can discover about your life? All right? Under this topic, we'll go into emotional intelligence. When we begin to look at elements of, that's a lot, elements of emotional intelligence. When you begin to look at self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, motivation, and the rest of them. What is the purpose of your existence? Why are you here? Are you a coincidence? Are you an unidentified object who just hit yourself on this end? Constitute nuisance. Why are you here? Have you discovered? One thing I tell teachers about pupils, when you go to school, the first thing a teacher should do, discover the pupil. Because the people you are seeing, they are future scientists. So future doctors, future lawyers. Can you be able to discover the person that has been placed under you, even in that your shop? That's one. Two, passion. Do you have passion? That's focus. What a leader focuses on purpose. Too. If he looks at you, he tells you where you're going. Looking at this guy, he's going to be a star. So while others are calling you rascal, a leader is speaking something. You know, a leader crosses through the refuse bin. Everybody is doing A leader is looking at a gold mine. If I'm to transform this, if I'm to convert this, electricity can come out of this thing everybody is doing. He sees from another eye. Don't worry, when we get to vision, you see how a leader sees like an eagle. What other birds are flying about trying to eat. An eagle is targeting something valuable about it. So number 3, a leader focuses on principles. Okay. All right? Things he will not violate. This is the red line for me. A leader cannot cross here. A leader doesn't eat anything. You know, there are people that eat anything. Yeah. Anything on skate, anything on trousers, anything. No. A leader has a line. It tells you, no, for this. You know what Daniel says in the Bible? I cannot eat the kind of meat that feeds for kings. A leader tells you the kind of things, places. That's why you don't see them anyhow. There are people you can't see anyhow. You don't see them any place. You can't.
Everywhere.
You can't see them everywhere. They are true leaders. They're not the kind of people, you assess them. They have values. Valuable things, you dig before you find valuable things. If you have to find gold, gold is not these ones you pick along. Those ones are concrete. They are stones. If you want to get gold, you have to dig and real deep, alright? If you need crude oil, you must have to get deep. They are like leaders, okay? So they focus on purpose, they focus on passion, they focus on principles, okay? They focus on the interest of the people. That's another thing about the leader. Interest of the people. They are looking, there was a time when this COVID thing started. I was with Dr. Richard in the office and the organizations were closing, firing people left and right. He called me and said, goodness, what do we do? I am going to keep these people. It was almost giving him headache. How do we retain these people and make sure? Because if you sack one person here, you've disorganized the family. A leader thinks about the people, the interest of the people. How are we going to keep these people? Then he talks about vision. The mental picture of the future. That's a leader focuses on vision. All right. So if you see somebody, whether it's your overseer, whether it's your director, whatever that person is, ask him or her, what is your purpose for my life? That is what a leader asks. What is your purpose? What is your passion? Where are you going? What bonds? What wakes you up? Do you know leaders hardly get sick? Especially when they have something to go.
Yes,
A man was asked, something collapsed on him in Florida some time ago. There was a building collapse. He said, you were here for almost 6 days. So how did you survive? So I was thinking about my next program. That's a vision that keeps you alive. When people have a vision, they hardly die. Because, people that die mostly are people that have nothing to live for.
Yeah, no hope.
They've just given up. If there is one thing you shouldn't give up, it's hope. Let them take anything from you. Hope keeps you going. Okay? Hope is that thing that keeps you going. That's why they said when hope is defied, it makes the heart sick. So you must be able to, as a leader, keep it in you that there is hope. Looking with priority, looking with vision ahead that, look, this is going to happen. So while we're going to take, I'm sure we're going to take some numbers. It's good we know that leaders are concerned, all right, about the interests of the people, not just leading. Get that point. Because there are people that just want to lead, just want to answer lead.
Want to be a leader.
Leaders are not consumed with leading. They are consumed with getting things done accordingly. The goals, all right? They are consumed with reaching out and fulfilling the vision. It's important for us to understand that.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. So I'll quickly take a pause here because we don't have much time. But if we can take 1 or 2 calls, that will be fine. The numbers to dial 081-87-888-889. I'll call that number again, 081-87-888-889. And then you also have 091-6000-8890. That's 091-6000-8890. Those are the numbers for you to dial to call in, ask any questions, make any comments that you want, or you send an SMS to us, SMS or WhatsApp to 091-6000-8898. 091-6000-8898. Okay. So, we've been speaking on leadership all along here now. You did mention that, a leader seeks to empower, right? I wanted to find out, because there are many people who think that if they've given you money, they've empowered you. Does that qualify as a leader?
Well, I mentioned recently that there are about 12 things that makes people rich. And I said money is number 12.
Money is number 12.
And I told you, you've not asked me. It's in these sections we're going now that I'm going to break it down. All right? There are certain things you do before you say you're giving me. Have you ever seen somebody you gave money and end up destroying the person end up destroying himself
because of the money.
You have ended up equipping him with destructive material to finish himself from where he was dying. Yes.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, please. What's your name? Hello, what's your name? Okay, I can't hear you. Maybe you want to call back or you want to send us a text message. In either ways, try sending a text. Maybe I'll be able to hear what you're trying to say. Okay, you were saying something, Barrister Nati.
Yeah, so when you give somebody money and you say they've empowered the person, a friend of mine asked me that we visit the prisons. I said, if you're going to have me there, then know that I'm going to release the word. All I do empowering people is knowledge. It's knowledge driven. I need to tell you what to do with that money you are going to give them later. You say, no, for now they are hungry. In fact, for you, since you're a preacher, let's get Bible for them. A particular place he gave Bible. These guys were so bad that they tore the pages of the Bible and used it to smoke. So what is empowerment? And within him, he has empowered them with something they don't know. This is a guy that is waiting to buy drugs, and you never taught him about the dangers of drugs. You gave him money. All you have done is to empower him. It's just like giving people money to buy guns and start stealing. So it's not a function of money. Empowerment, the biggest empowerment is knowledge driven, or it's a transference of knowledge. Transference, that's why I say empowerment. Transference of power. Most great leaders don't talk about power. They give you the power, but they help you control it. That's what it's all about. I tell people that humility is power under control.
Okay.
Humility. When you look at granite, it's a very small thing, but touch the safety pin, the place will go down.
Go down.
Noise makers are not good leaders. Great leaders are noise. They are very humble. They are unassuming, yet upwardly mobile and sagacious.
This leadership, it seems as if it's like an onion. You just an unending.
Yes.
Okay, well, like I said, we don't have much time. It's almost 10. 081-87-888-889 or 091-6000-8890. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, please, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Elvis. I'm calling from Port Harcourt.
Okay, Elvis, good to have you. Go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, I would first to greet your guest on the studio here. Good morning, sir. I want to ask, that Thursday program, I want to know the venue and the number someone can call when on that Thursday, so for the direction of the particular distant venue. That's what I'm telling the call.
Okay, all right, just listening in. Thank you.
Okay, you can call 080-680-24271. 080-680-24271 or 081-833-09692 or 0818-330, that's what I just mentioned, 9692. Any of these numbers.
Okay. Somebody else was also asking here, what is the, hold on, let me find that question. Says, please, good morning. How does the app look like? The design or logo on it?
Okay, you have something like a circle with a bird, that's the dove bringing a kind of leaf. All right, that's
Like a peace sign. That's
like a peace sign, yeah. So if you can see it,
I think that's for the Doctor Save a Life app.
Doctor Save a Life app, yes.
And that for the My Home Clinic is just a bird on a white background.
Yeah.
The bird is inscripted in blue and it's on a white background.
Yeah.
Okay, so I hope the person who asked that question is listening in. You'll find that as the logo for My Home Clinic.
For those of you coming on Thursday, we are still handling the family series, all right? So we still get to that of leadership. So if you are coming, come with your family, come with young or old. We're still teaching about the family.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, please, what's your name? Triple A, where are you calling from?
Triple A.
Okay, where are you calling from? Go ahead.
I want to ask question based on that your thing that make people rich. I want to tap on that knowledge.
Okay, all right. It's going to come eventually. I don't think.
Yes,
just stay with the conversation. You will get to that part. I know how many of us are itching to get to the how to get rich and finding that money is not even the first 5.
Yes.
But we'll get to that conversation eventually. It's under these leadership exercises that we have on. But I think that what is more important is understanding what leadership is before even money. Because like we mentioned, you empower somebody with money and you think you've done something great. But because the person lacks knowledge, that same money that you give them will be a great downfall for them. You'll find them worse off than they were initially because they didn't understand what money was for them.
Number one thing that makes people rich, let me give you a tip of it, all right, is positive mental attitude.
Positive mental attitude.
Number 2, sound physical health.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
I'll leave it at that.
Good morning. What's your name?
This is Dominic talking from Woodson.
All right, great to have you. Go ahead. Dominic from Woodgie, go ahead. All right, I couldn't make out what you were saying anyway, but we'll let you go. The first you mentioned was
You are doing expo.
Let's do expo now, please.
Positive mental attitude.
Positive mental attitude.
Sound physical health.
See? You see? Health is there.
Before money.
Before money.
Far before money. So that's why I said we need to break it down. It's not something I'll start saying and you're not telling me what of the rest, because that's each time I go, people will start telling you. Third one is harmony in human relationship, good marriage. Nothing reduces a man to poverty like when your home is messed up. In fact, you have different pots in the same home. It becomes more expensive to manage trouble. Listen, whether you want to believe it or not, when we continue leadership, you discover that the biggest problem is not failure, but managing success.
Well, managing success, honestly. I agree. Completely agree.
Managing success. That's what most people don't know. It's destructive. I have seen people get destroyed because of success. Behind every failure is actually the seed of
A
success.
seed of success, true.
Most people don't know. That's why successful people are two failures who didn't give up. We'll get to learn a lot here.
We will. All right, but then on Thursday is one where you can actually come and
Yes.
see.
And by this Thursday, we're going to open platform where you can now have one-on-one counseling, because the pressure on that is getting too much on me. Plus, I want to see. So we'll get to let you know how it can engage you on one-on-one or couples.
Okay.
All right, because a lot of people want to engage one-on-one.
One-on-one.
Yeah, so it's possible we can do that.
So that will be unveiled on Thursday.
On Thursday,
You don't need
yes.
to miss that.
Yes.
Thursday, 4 p.m.
Yes,
Auditorium, Saving Life Hospital.
that's 8 to your street by Stadium Road.
You can't miss it. But still, in case you want directions or you want to ask questions prior to that, there are numbers you
We're
can
giving
call.
you numbers you can call. Okay, 080-680-24271. 080-680-24271 or 0818-330-9692. You can call any of those numbers. But for those of you who would like to engage us, especially with the app, which somebody asked about earlier on, and the devices, you would like your community to know about it, you like your estate, your church, or you want us to visit you, 070 is your plug. 44000139. 081 0 into 5 places 851.
Okay. The numbers you called, though, the other one, you said 080-330-9692. I think there's one figure missing.
0818
0818. Okay.
330-9692
Okay.
or 080-680-24271.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on. But we've got to wrap this up here. If we've got time for, I saw one call coming in. I was about to take it, but I think the network failed me there. Let me see if I've got another text message here I will take. And then we need to wrap it up for today. Well, before we leave, do not forget that Thursday is the day. This is here. Good morning. Please, I want to find out if this leadership conversation will be what will be discussed on Thursday, or it is for family. I'm interested in the family conversation. All right, but I think that we also mentioned here that leadership is also key in the family.
We're discussing about a family, and leadership is part of it. But what we do here and what we do at that prayer is just like a holistic aspect of it. We are still on with the family discussion. Okay. What we are doing on Thursday, we'll continue with spousal conflict and resolution.
Okay, ma'am.
All this quarreling in the families and problems and whatever, how to go about them, how to solve them positively. We've gone into that and we're working on it.
Mark, you heard it's going to be a conversation on Thursday. It has to do with spousal conflict. Come along with your wife or your spouse.
Or the youths, you're not left out, okay?
Yeah.
Most of them are saying it's only for those who are married. It's for those who are married, those who are unmarried, those who are sorry that they are married, and the younger ones too.
Fantastic. Barrister Nadi, thank you so much for this.
You're welcome.
And then looking forward to Thursday, 9 a.m. We'll be here again with Barrister Nadi, and we'll continue on this conversation on leadership. Please don't miss it.